Hello, Merry Christmas. Mayong adlaw sa inyong tanan diha sa mga delegado nato sa Christmas Institute. Mayong adlaw. Inaot nga okay lang kamo bisan sa pag-agi sa atong bagyo nga Odette. Pero malipayon ta kay natay opportunity nga makatuon, no? To learn about one of the public health concerns of our church, especially among the youth. So my task today is to share with you one of the topics assigned to me, which is adolescent or teenage pregnancy. So I will focus my discussion on the risk of teenage pregnancy. This slide is the slide that I usually use when we are talking with students, high school students, teenagers with the Department of Health. I'm a medical doctor, and I am also connected with the Department of Health, and these are the same topics that we're discussing. So let me share with you these slides. We begin with the verse from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18 to 20, which reads, "Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body." So kini isa ka very important nga topic na to isip mga Kristohanon, that our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and therefore we must, as much as possible, be able to protect the temple of God by not committing sin against our own body, by not abusing our body with things that will cause our body to be destroyed or to be sick. Okay, so which brings us to the topic teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy is not just an issue of being pregnant. It is an issue of our health, especially among young women. No? Teenager girls within the years of 13 to 19 years old with unplanned pregnancy. Ano ba ang epekto nito sa kalusugan ng mga batang babae? At ano naman ang role na ginagampanan ng mga teenage boys engaged in risky health behavior? So ang usapang teenage pregnancy hindi lang pang batang babae, pati mga lalaki, no, kasama dyan, no? Dahil hindi naman nabubuntis ang isang babae nang mag-isa lang niya. Okay? And this is not just talking about pregnancy or sexuality, this is talking about the health of the youth, ang kalusugan ng kabataan, no? Ang kalusugan ng ating katawan, which is the temple of God. So how do we take care of the temple of God? How do we take care of our health, of our physical bodies? So ano ba ang scenario? What is the scenario? Why is this a public health concern? Well, in 2013, almost 10 years ago, no, 8 years to be exact, we did a survey among the youth, and we found out that there was a very high, more than 12% in almost, no, the top 15 regions in the whole Philippines, no? have more than 12% teenage pregnancy. Diri sa tuwa sa Visayas, no? Especially in Region 7, you can see there 13.1, very high. Belongs siya sa top 10. So, ano bang ibig sabihin nito in terms of the number of teenage pregnancy? This means that, according to POPCO, no, in their report in 2017, no, that 9% of women between age 15 to 19, so yung mga high school, no, are pregnant already with their first child, no, or already mothers, o mga nanay na sila. So, ibig sabihin, around 14 years old, meron ng mga nagiging nanay, nabubuntis at nagiging nanay. And 47 births of this per 1,000 women ay between age 15 to 19, nasa high school age. Yan. So tingnan nga ninyo, yung katabi ninyo dyan, kung sino ang 15 to 19 years old. Then it means they could be one of those women that can be pregnant or part ng teenage pregnancy. Now, the problem is, ano ang dahilan nito? Now, teenage pregnancy is usually caused by risky health behaviors among the youth. Ito yung sinasabi natin. May mga ginagawa tayo na very risky. No? Taas kayong risgo sa atong lawas, no? Sa health sa atong lawas. So, what are these things? Ano itong mga behavior na ito, mga gawain na ito? Usually, first is early sexual debut of boys and girls. Ibig sabihin, sayura kayo sila ma-expose sa ilang sexuality. No? Huna-huna, 15 years old, buntis na. So, what pasabot, before pa 15 years old, around 13, no? Bago pa lang siya men siguro, no? 13, 14 years old. Uy, sana sila, no? They are already very aware and engaged with their sexuality. Dili lang babae, pati lalaki, no? Bago lang siguro tuli na. Pero very aware na sila. Now, the question is, nga no? Unsa ilang exposure? No? Tungkol ba na sila mga amigo? Tungkol ba sa ilang silingan? Sa ilang environment? Sa ilang panimalay? Now, that is something that we must look into. Okay? The church must look into what are the things that influence our youth. No? Naaba sa TV, naaba sa social media. So these are the things na tanaw na to. Sa pa mga risky health behaviors. Multiple partners, no? Magsugod sa uyab-uyab, no? Isa ka uyab. Nya, magto-timer pa gyud ang uban. So multiple partners, dili maayo. Okay? Ang ingon na to, stick to one. Isa lang yun. Kung naman kayo uyab, isa lang. Pero, mas maayo gani, kung bata pa, dili sa mag-uyab-uyab. Friends lang. Diba? Na, kung mag-uyab man, ayaw po kayo seryoso. Dili pa kayo na seryoso because at this stage, no, we are still building our relationship, our friendship. We are not yet ready for those kind of deeper partnerships. O nga ikatulo is the use of prohibited substances. Again, these are teenagers. No? Ang edad ninyo. Diba? Di ata magsugod, tilaw-tilaw, no? Tilaw-tilaw ang sigarilyo, at mga amigo. I'm not saying all of us, no? Pero ato mga amigo, raise your hand. Nama mo'y kaila, classmate o amigo nga nagapanigarilyo karon or naga-inom-inom. No? Then try to ask yourself, why do you have friends that are like that? How can they influence you? No? Okay, later on, di lang ito ginaingon tanan, pero usually that will graduate into use of prohibited drugs. No? And then, this could influence our circle. And so these are the risky behaviors that influence our behavior sa atong lawas, affecting our health. No? Early sexual debut, multiple partners, and the use of prohibited substances. So next, saan ba galing itong mga nabubuntis ng mga kabataang babae in terms of educational attainment? So, if we will look into data, the number one group or subgroup ay usually yung mga high school undergraduate na pa lang sa either junior high or senior high. Wala pa nakagraduate na. No? Wala pa nakagraduate. Na pa lang sila sa junior high or senior high. Ang second, kasagaran is high school graduate na. Nakagraduate na sila pero wala na sila ga-eskwela. So graduate na sa senior high, no? Or junior high. Graduate na sila junior high, wala na sila ga-eskwela. You don't go to school anymore. Pero there is another number 2 gihapon, no? Some who have no education or elementary lang ang ilang na-graduatean, no? Wala pa sila naka high school. And the last group is the college student. So makita nato kasagaran, no, is around high school age. Around high school age. Kunya kung dili man sila high school, wala na sila ga-eskwela. Now, you wonder why, ngano nasa high school, nag-eskwela pa lang sa high school or wala na eskwela. Ngano gamay lang ang mga mabuntis nga sa college. This has something to do with our preoccupation. Kung unsa ang atong mga ginakabisihan sa age nga kita na sa teenager. No? Kung nag-concentrate ba ta sa eskwela or kung lain ang atong ginatupag. Mao na, you do not wonder, no, if your parents, the adult, your guardian, no, always remind you to focus on your studies, because if you do not focus on that, then you are focused on something else. And that something else may lead into risky health behaviors. So, unsa di ang effect sa teenage pregnancy? Why do we always concern ourselves about teenage pregnancy? What is the effect of this to all of us? No? Ang first is, there is ginatawag na social risk. The risk to the pregnant adolescent or teenager, first is social risk. Sabot masabot, pwede siyang ma-social stigma. Pwede siyang ma-discriminate or ma-stigmatize. No? Ay, unsa pa kanang teenager nabuntis na, no? Or inahan na siya. Okay? So, unsa epekto ara sa iya? So, pwedeng malain siya, ma-discriminate siya, ma-marginalize siya, no? So, low yung self-esteem. So, mag-isolate na siya, no? Mag-cause na siya of anxiety, and it will affect her mental health eventually. Di lang sa babae, pati ang lalaki nga partner sa babae, uy, siya ang amahan ana, oh. Teenager pa lang, amahan na, no? Batang ama. Diba? So, there is social stigma. No? So, ikaw, maulaw pud ka, no? Or ikahiya ka ng mga magulang mo, kamag-anak mo. So, ma-isolate ka, and so you will have social separation, no? And will affect your mental health as well. Ang second is, it will delay the education. Kasi siyempre, kung mabuntis ang babae, dili siya pa eskwelahon. So, either mag-stop siya eskwela, mag-break na siya, no? Or muundang na siya eskwela. Okay? Which will, kung muundang na eskwela, mo nang atong ginayang-ganihan. Either wala pa na ka mag-eskwela or wala na siya eskwela. No? Which will lead to lesser or reduced economic potential. Kay kung wala ka na kaman sa mong eskwela, wala ka na kaman ng high school, then there is a less chance for you to get a good paying job. di ba? Makakuha ayong trabaho, di ba? So it will affect your career later or your economy, no? Ang imong opportunity nga maka-earn og better income. So speaking of income, unsa economic risk ani? And so one of the risk in pregnant adolescent or teenagers is that you will now have less economic support, which leads to poor health care for the mother and the baby, because nag-eskwela pa ka, estudyante pa ka, unsa na lang ang imong gastuson for your own health, no? Pagpalit nimo og imong gatas, pagpa-check up nimo, niya kung nga kay baby, unsa ang ipag-support nimo sa imong baby, no? Asa ka magkuha og kwarta. So there is economic risk. Kung wala na gani kay kwarta pang eskwela, samot na wala na kay pang kwarta nga pang you don't have money to support yourself and your baby. And the third is the support from the father of the child. Now that has been always the problem. No? The father may not, usually is also a student or not in school. So the father may not have a job yet. Wala pa'y trabaho. So how can that father support the child, the baby? No? Much more the family. Okay? And another economic risk is the employment opportunities become low if educational attainment has been impaired. Diba? So usually, kung mangita ang trabaho, unsa man ang kung elementary graduate lang ang isa ka teenager, mangita siya trabaho, okay, para suportahan niya ang iyang baby, kunya ang kakompetensya niya kay high school graduate or di college graduate, kinsa ang mas kuhaon og sa employer, kinsa ang makadawat og trabaho, kinsa mas taas og sweldo, ang elementary graduate, ang high school graduate, o ang college graduate. So syempre, if mas low ang imong educational attainment, no, kung elementary graduate, mas gamay ang sweldo kumpara kung college graduate. So katungod na nabuntis, no, wala na nakahuman sa iyong eskwela. So kung wala nakahuman sa iyong eskwela, mas low yung educational attainment, mas gamay ang sweldo kung magtrabaho na siya. So these are the economic risks that will happen during if there is teenage pregnancy. But aside from that, there is the emotional risk as well. No? And kani ang isa ka one concern, no, which leads to stress, no? Kay kung siyempre bata pa, teenager pa, they are not yet emotionally mature to become parents, no? Ang nasa una pa na kay mga friends, dula-dula, no? Social media, TikTok, ana lang ang usually, no, or pag-eskwela, planning pa lang na siya, no, thinking of what to do in the future, no, sa ilang life, but they may not be emotionally ready to become parents yet, no, because that means having greater responsibility. Or mas dakong problema if you are forced into marriage, no, nga it may lead to failure lang kay later on dili pa mo ready di ay nga mag settle down, no, to become married, no? Napugos lang. Kabulumanta na pag napugos lang, lisod kayo, no? Because it may lead to failure in the future. Okay? But aside from those three risks that we mentioned, sa pagyud ang pwedeng epekto. The health, no? Ang kalusugan, ang health ng teenage mother, teen mother, no? That the pregnant teen, ang babae nga teenager nga nabdos, pregnant, no, is 2 to 5 times, no, of adult woman to have not yet fully mature reproductive system. Buot pasabot, ang teenager nga mabuntis, mas taas ang risgo niya nga pwedeng mag-lead to maternal death. No? kanang mamatay tungod sa pagpanganak o tungod sa pagkabuntis. No? 5 times ang iyang risgo. Kay ngano, kahit tungod ang iyang reproductive system, bata pa man siya, dili pa ready. That's what we are saying. This is a health issue for your body, no? Your physical body, because you have a higher risk of dying. Okay? Maternal death. Ngano? Because there are complications during and after delivery, no? Samtang busog siya or mabdus siya, no? Ang teenage mother may have poor maternal weight. No? So dili siya makakuha og saktong pagkaon niya, no? Pwede siyang naay pregnancy-induced hypertension, high blood. Pwede po mahimong anemic o pwede po siya mag-bleeding. So kanitanan risgo ni siya sa iyang pagka-pregnant sa babae, no? That may lead to risk of maternal death. Pwede niyang ikamatay. So that is why it's very risky among teenage mothers, and it affects their health. So aside from that, no, we have mentioned maternal mortality or taas ang risgo na mamatay ang teenage mother, especially kung mas younger yung age. Kung mga anak man siya, pwedeng premature ang birth, premature ang baby, no? Kaya dili pa prepared ang lawas sa nanay, or pwedeng stillbirth, no? So pagkagawas, no, pwedeng patay ang baby, or kung dili man na ay health risk, no? Na ay health risk sa inahan, pwedeng may komplikasyon, pwedeng high blood load, pwedeng mag-bleeding, pwedeng anemia. Aside pa sa giingon nato ganiha na mga social risk, economic risk, education niya, no, affected, and iyang emotions and mental health. And usually, kung nga na mahitabo, no, ayaw gyud buhaton, pero ang uban, ang ilang buhat, they resort to abortion. No? Usually, pag wala na plano, unplanned pregnancy, especially kung teenager pa, no, they think that abortion is a solution, but that is illegal. And not only illegal, no, it is a sin because you are killing somebody. And it is not medically accepted. It is illegal here in the Philippines. And kung buhaton na siya, usually makulong ka na. O mag-cause pag yun na siya o komplikasyon. Kaya nga no, it may lead to ang komplikasyon sa nanay, no, mag-lead na siya sa komplikasyon sa nanay or maternal death. Pwedeng muna ang iyang ikamatay, mamatay ang teenager nga nanay. So kung sa mga cause, pwedeng abortion, no, kay ang iyang lawas dili pa ready nga magbuntis o mamatay ang baby, ma-abort o makunan, ma-miscarriage, or tungkol sa iyang emotional and mental stress, mental health, pwedeng mag-suicide attempt. Another is malnutrition, no? Malnutrition nga mag-cause. Another is poor absent antenatal and postnatal care, dili siya magpa-check up. And another is non-facility based delivery. So balay na lang siya mga anak. Or next is delivery without presence of a trained health provider, no? So dili siya magpa-check up. So ang magpanak siya kay dili doctor or dili midwife, no? So what can we do? What can we do? So what can we do to prevent early pregnancy? So for us, there are things that we can do, no? Even in our church. No? So just remember this. It's very simple. Protect yourself, help others, protect themselves also. So duha, protect yourself and help others to protect themselves. So ang uban, ang kagalingon mo, ug ang uban. So remember this. High school, just do high school, HISKUL. So when high school, H stands for help spread teenage pregnancy prevention messages. No? So share this campaign in our church, in our school, in our group, in our friends, no? about our advocacy to protect our youth, no, in prevent teenage pregnancy para ma-protect nato ang ilang health, diba? Next is letter I, influence others for the better. So you should be a good influence sa imong mga friends. So help your peers, your friends to stay away from risky behaviors. Itong ingon na ka mga risky behaviors ganiha, no? Ang early sexual debut, ang multiple partners, o ang pag-try sa mga prohibited substances. Okay? So be a good influence. No? Ingnan niyo yung mga amigo, no? To not try those risky behaviors. Next, letter S. Stay away from risky sexual behaviors. Always say no. It is okay to say no. Abstain from sexual activities. You are still young, teenager pa. Focus on your studies instead. No, you don't need to have sexual activities to enjoy your teenage life, di ba? Daghang buhaton, no, nga dili na pwede ta mag-enjoy as teenager, no? Have fellowship with your friends, no? Join the church activities. So this will help you stay away from risky sexual behaviors. Next, letter K. Keep yourself drug-free. So avoid prohibited substances, including drugs and alcoholic drinks. This can make you lose control of yourselves, di ba? Pagka naghubog-hubog ka, wala na kabalon sa buhaton, or wala na kakabalo kung sige buhat sa imuha. And it will make it harder to stop having those sexual activities if you are engaged in these prohibited substances. So keep yourself away from these prohibited substances. Letter U, use your time in worthwhile activities. Focus on your studies. Kung nag-eskwela ka, if not, join youth activities, di ba? Sa church. Hindi naman sa church, sa school ninyo or sa community ninyo. And be part of other extracurricular activities, no? Sports, arts, no? Dancing, oratoricals. So there are many extracurricular activities that you can engage in. So use your time in worthwhile activities, something that will help develop your God-given talents, di ba? And you can be a blessing also, not only to the church, but also to the community. Next is letter L. Learn to value yourself. Remember that you are God's special child. You're a precious individual. Your body is a gift from God. It is a temple of God. So respect it and care for it. Diba? So always remember HISKUL, high school. Help spread our advocacy, no? To prevent teenage pregnancy. Letter I, become a good influence for others. S, stay away from risky behaviors. K, keep yourself drug-free. U, use your time in worthwhile activities. And L, learn to value yourself. So remember, our teen pregnancy prevention includes saying no, learning to respect our body, that demands respecting others as well, no? So both boys and girls, no? Lalo na yung mga lalaki dyan, no? Respect the other person, diba? Respect women. Respect also your own body. Avoid situations where you will be meeting strangers, diba? Like eyeballing, no? Mag-text-text, mag-eyeball, no? Or chatting over the internet, makakabulok din sa mga kasturya sa pikas, no? Basig day, fake day ang iyang account, no? Or texting, diba? And then usually we tell this, no, sa among mga discussions sa sa DOH, no, sa hospital, sa schools, no. Kung na yung mga nag-engage, no, kaya may mga 18 years old na magbinyo na sila sa iyo, no. They should consult or they should have counseling about reproductive health, no. So check with your healthcare provider on what to do to be screened, no, from being pregnant, no, or from having acquired STI or sexually transmitted diseases or illnesses, di ba? So these are the things that you must ask dira sa inyong health center or ang inyong family doctor. Okay? Also, let your partner know your limits on your expression of love. Kung naman mo yung boyfriend or girlfriend, if you are in a relationship, know your limits. Diba? Be clear to each other not to have sex if you are not, especially if you are a teenager, you are not yet ready, o wala pa mo nagminyo. Diba? Explain clearly the reasons for not wanting to have sex yet. Diba? Kung wala pa mo pangandoy, you still have dreams in life, you don't want to feel guilty, disappointed, and give up your self-respect. No? Ang pinaka-importante dire, if you are not yet ready, not only emotionally, not only sa responsibility, but also your body, ito teenager pa ka, it is still immature to be pregnant. No? If you are not yet ready, you must be able to learn to say no. Okay? Remember that you can love somebody without having to engage in sexual activity. Okay? You want to enjoy spending time together, having fun, and building trust towards one another by having good relationship without having that going to the extent of that sexual activities. You want both to be prepared when you enter married life. No? Kung teenager pa, bata pa kayo. Okay? So you can engage in other activities, no, that you will help each other grow as a complete person. No? So remember, your body is God's temple. And so you must be able to take care of your physical body. Because that is God's temple. Not only your physical body, but also your spiritual body as well. Adolescents should not rush to early sex initiation until they are physically, psychologically, and economically prepared. Waiting until marriage is the most ideal. No, that is the most ideal. Okay? If you are if you are ready na, as much as possible, di ba? At least dili na ka teenager, no? If you are already ready, if sure na ka, pwede man, but as long as dili pa ka dili na ka teenager. Kay parang imong body ready na pod, no, for that kind of responsibility. And third point to remember, keep abstinent is the surest way to avoid unplanned teenage pregnancy. Okay? So if you have questions, you can ask questions. Your ate and kuya, si DS, si pastor, no? And our church workers are ready to help you. Remember that this is not just the concern of the girls or our young girls or young women, no, atong mga youth, kundi appeal ang mga lalaki. This is the concern of everybody, and we must be able to respect one another, no? And let us also remember that our body is a temple of God, and we must be able to glorify God with this gift that God has given us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time.